Hi guys, welcome to another Britasia Live. My hair is very flat right now, but it's okay. I just literally came in, but shout out to the t-shirt. Give me all these I hope you guys are all doing well, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. It's Tuesday. I hope you guys had a lovely it is Tuesday, right? Yeah, it is Tuesday. I hope your Valentine's Day went well as well. Today I'm going live with Fifi. I like to call her Fifi, but her actual name is Sophia. She sings, she does TikTok, she dances, she does almost everything. Independent and individual woman. So, I'm gonna try and request her in, if I can. I'm just waiting for her to accept. As soon as she accepts, we're gonna try and speak, I think, more English. But if I kind of just go in a rant, then you guys will understand what's going on. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking for an iPhone charger at the same time. Great stuff.
Oh, here, there's a Mac.
Is there another one around? Okay. I don't know why it's not going through. I was trying to request it, but it's just waiting.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry, I was trying to join you earlier, but it just didn't really.
I think it's good now.
Okay, cool.
I didn't
Hi,
know before.
welcome to
Hi.
live.
I'm such a big fan. Oh my god.
I'm
Hi.
a big fan too. I
Yeah.
love you for whatever you do.
I remember seeing you for your first music video, and I was like, oh my god. First of all, I was obsessed with that song. I think it was like Satinder Sartaj.
Yeah. Okay, so you remember.
An icon from that. And then I was like, oh my god, now she does like the Britney stuff. Yes?
That's still what I'm really chuffed to know that you know about me.
Oh my god. I was obsessed with that song. Half of the views that came from that video are from me.
Well, thanks, Fifi. I really appreciate that.
You're very
But
welcome.
I would like to call you Fifi because I just
Yes.
love the name Fifi. But
I
I
love
do
that.
want to kind of know the story from Sophia to kind of Fifi. How did it kind of come across? And like how did you kind of get to that stage?
I wish I had like a super complex like artist story where like my team decided. No, it was my nephew. My nephew couldn't say my name, Sophia, so he would just be like Fifi, like Fifi auntie, Fifi. And I'm like, wait a minute, you're onto something. That's a brand name. So I took it, and everybody like made fun of me for it. They were like, why would anybody call you Fifi? Now everybody calls me Fifi because
Yeah.
it's just like so catchy and like so fun.
It's
So
just
it
easy
wasn't
to
super
say.
complex. Yeah,
It's like a super easy name, so it's like
it is.
really catchy.
It's literally like 2 syllables. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, Fifi, you do everything. Like, you know, TikTok, you sing, and then you model, you do a bit of everything. First of all, tell me, like, what was the actual plan? Like, what did you actually want to become?
A doctor.
Okay.
I wanted to become a doctor, and it did not go according to plan, obviously. Obviously, like everybody wants to become a doctor when they're, a kid. I always loved music. I always loved to dance. Like I always loved movies and entertainment and everything. I never thought that I would have like an actual career in it until I started kind of creating my own community online. And I just like loved it. I loved what I was doing. I loved the little community I had as like a beauty creator, back when like everybody wanted to be Jaclyn Hill. So I loved the fact that I could create a community and like these people, kind of just followed me through my journey and what I was doing. Always loved music, but was terrified. Was terrified of like, oh my God, like what are people gonna say? Who are gonna make fun of me if I start making music? Like obviously, right? Even forget making music. I feel like especially us as girls, like we get scared to like, oh my God, people are gonna be like, oh, she's just another influencer. Oh, here we go, another influencer on the market, right? But then I was like, well, I'm not really gonna care. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And blowing up on TikTok helped.
Yeah.
I blew up on TikTok and I got like a few suggestions of people being like, hey, you should make Punjabi music. Like you dance Punjabi music all the time. What if you made it? And I was like, well, I don't really know Punjabi, but I'm gonna try anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I did. And so it was really fun. And that kind of gave me like my first taste of the music industry and like a little experience into what it was. And then the pandemic happened. I created my first song like by myself, like Mera Jism Meri Marzi, which was like completely written by by me, produced by me, everything by me. And it resonated with people so much more because I felt like people could feel that it was authentic. So that's really when like the aha moment went off in my head where I'm like, I'm an artist. Like I'm not the best artist and I have some learning to do, but like I can actually concisely put my thoughts into a piece of work and inspire people with it.
Yeah.
And so that's when I was like, yeah, this is it. This is the move. So in the pandemic, I was like, from now on, I'm going to write my own music. I'm going to like do this thing. And yeah, that's how it started. And that's where we are now.
Yeah. And obviously being a girl, like, you know,
Yeah.
we see like comments all the time. I think a lot of people know what you do anyway. So I don't want to go into, you know, the background story.
Nitty-gritties.
Maybe I will ask a couple of questions about that. But like, you know, when you're on the internet, I think me being on the internet as well, and I know what TikTok is like, you know, we see all sorts of comments and you have openly kind of put out the stuff that comes out, you know, the crazy comments that you get. What is it like dealing with it? Because, you know, as Asian girls, we have like this completely different kind of lifestyle and our cultures are very, very like, you know, traditional, I can say, where we come from kind of like a very conservative thinking, but then we have grown into the Western world and now gradually everybody's accepting it. But still, you know, you have experienced that as well. What was it kind of like kind of breaking through that?
You know, in the beginning when I was younger, because I have been on social media for quite some time now, since I was 19 actually, I made like Fifi. Fifi was birthed and now I'm 23. So I feel like at first people, you know, who like when I started, when my TikToks, when my, like not even TikToks, when my videos and my YouTube and everything was like in the US, Canada, it was all love. It was literally all love and support. Everybody, like, you know, friends, family, aunties, like everybody's like, oh, this is so cute. Like she's making little YouTube videos, like adorable. But then it kind of like one of my videos went viral and it got into the hands of the wrong people. You know, when it's like, oh God, I'm on the wrong TikTok. That's kind of how it was. So it ended up like going viral over there in Pakistan. And that's when people started looking into me and then being horrified at like what I wore and how I talked and what I did and like, how could she? And I was horrified at the fact that people are horrified at my like super personal, completely normal decisions. And I think that's when it started off. And it like, I think for 2 years, good 2 years, it was like a fighting. I felt the need to address every hater. How dare somebody say that about me? That's not true. And I would take like a long time, like I would, and I'm laughing about it now because I would make videos, like I would go on live, like this is a serious matter. Somebody just talked shit, like I would go call them out.
Yeah.
But the thing is, and then I think it got to a point where there's just too many now. Now it's hundreds. How many people am I gonna like? Oh yeah, that one I've heard that before 10 times yesterday. Yeah. Right? So then it starts to get like a little old. And then you start to feel like, you know, among all other, like it's so easy for us. Like let's say like out of 100% of my followers, let's say even 20% are just negative, toxic, like haters, right? Like what about the rest of the 80%? I had to do the math in my head really quick. What about the rest of the 80%? Of the 80% who actually love me and support me and just like, you know, mess with everything that I do. And like, what about them? Because, you know, I felt like they were kind of being left out and I was giving a lot of attention to like the negative people and everything. And so I've kind of like, you know, my relationship with my haters has significantly improved because now I'm just like, you know, like my bio on Instagram used to be love me or hate me, I'm still here, you know, and that's really where it came from. But I removed that because I'm like, that's kind of corny.
Yeah. But congratulations on everything that you're doing. I think moving on from like, you know, the haters and, you know, all the negativity, you've put out another song as well, using out on.
I did. did put out another song just the other day. And I'm very excited about it. It was just like such a fun beat my producer sent me one day, and I was just like vibing to it, and we just started coming up with some lyrics. And like the fun thing about music is that you get to play, like, I mean, it's you, but like you get to play different personas of people.
Yeah.
Like, like in that music video, or like even being an artist, like sometimes I'm in the booth and my producer will be like, oh, I hear Joanna. Because we literally give nicknames to like my different voices.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing kind of when you're acting. It's like, putting on a show and playing into this character, and, the whole like music, like I came up with the entire music video concept of like putting diamonds in the coffee and just like the whole thing. I just love like being so artistic and involved in everything. So this has definitely been one of those like super, super creative projects for me.
In terms of like music, and you have worked with, some of the leading artists, well, one of the leading artists in the industry, which is Deep Janu, and you actually flew out to Toronto to actually do the song as well. What was that experience? Because, that team was kind of popping off in India at the time, and they're still popping off, but like, at the time, they were the big names, like flying out there, you probably met like the entire team, like Karan, and, there's J-Track, and there's, Manna, there's everyone. So what was the experience with them lot?
They were so warm, so welcoming, full of advice, because they knew how much of a newbie I was. Like literally when I stepped into the studio, it was like, Deep was like, have you ever like stepped into a studio before? And I was like, yeah, like back in the day when I had to do a project or something. It was like I was really, really new to it and super nervous about it. And so they really like helped me and sitting me down, kind of almost explaining the industry to me, like giving me like a crash course, talking about music, talking about my journey, like what we're gonna do. They played other songs to me, like if I liked them or not. And I think it was just a really, really cool. He kind of like took on like a mentor kind of role in helping me with that. And then and I always loved like Big Bird beats. I loved Big Bird beats. So I loved Deep Jandu beats, and I love Big Bird beats. So after working with Deep, I was like, all right, Bird, come on, like hit me, like let's go. So and then we even created something like even more fun and even more sexy, and like just he was also amazing to sit down with and work with. So I'm actually very blessed. Like the fact that I have 2 Punjabi songs out, and they're both with like I be chilling.
That's good. What do you kind of think about like the whole scene in India right now? Because the scene is getting really big, and like the music is growing. It's worldwide now. Like we had Sidhu dropping the track with Steph London, and Mix, there was that, and then we're seeing it come in the mainstream. It always has been in the mainstream. Yeah. But 1 in 200, I can say.
Yeah, it's so poppin'. Like all my American friends. Like when I put on like Bagul by Deep in the car, like my girl V, she's one of my friends, she'll go crazy. She's like, I don't know what they're saying, girl, but like this is fire, Yeah. So I think I love to see it. I actually didn't grow up like listening to Punjabi music much. I actually grew up listening to Bollywood, like pure Bollywood. So discovering like authentic Punjabi music for me was an experience. Like for me, it's like you've probably been tasting it your whole life. For me, it's like I just tasted it for the first time. I'm in love. Like, what is this? And I only I think for a year straight, I like only listened to Punjabi music. I didn't like listen to anything else.
We're all in Punjabi for a bit.
And for a long time. Oh my God, yes. And I used to make so many Punjabi TikToks. And you want to know the funniest thing? Like half of the time, I wouldn't know what these lyrics are saying, so I would do the wrong hand gestures. So like it could be like a super sad song, and I'd just be like, and people would literally message me like, I don't think you know what this song's about.
Yeah, Fifi, you are one of the very few, I can say, individual girl or women, I should say, who speaks out. Who's opinionated, who likes to put her opinions out, how it is, whether it's through a song, whether it's through her Instagram or, your social media account. Whatever's going on in India right now with the whole Kisan movement and the farmers' protests, you have been very, very vocal. It's very rare that we have people being vocal at this time. Why being vocal? This is a weird question, but why?
Right. Initially, when people ask me this question, like, why, right? Because people are like, wait, you're not Punjabi, like, why do you care so much? Because I do care a lot, and I think it has shown. I think mostly, like, you can't ignore it. It's not something that you're like, oh, this is happening in a part of the world, and it doesn't really have to do with me or doesn't directly affect me. Like, coming from a human perspective, I've always been very big on human rights causes, by the way, like, always, always. And I've never believed that there could be anybody that could stop me from speaking up. And like, I'm a very, very firm believer in freedom of speech too. Like, no matter what it is, I think everybody has the right to freedom of speech. And so, you know, what's been happening in Punjab, like, I see it as kind of, I'm really happy about it because I feel like, oh wow, it's being internationalized, and it's, you know, but I'll never forget when I first discovered and learned about what Operation Blue Star was and what happened in 1984 and the genocide. And so when you talk about the farmers' protests right now, right, you have to also like take into account, not you, I'm sure you know, but people also have to take into account all the sufferings and all the things that have been done. Like, this wasn't, like, this farm bill wasn't protecting anybody. It was just the one leg that they were standing on.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really like broke my. So to see the women, the children, like, they're there, left their homes, are on the streets, and still today, and then they're being met with batons, they're being met with tear gas. You know, we have Nodeep Kaur, who was assaulted after being arrested, and probably so many other women who just are not speaking out because it's really hard to speak out about those kinds of issues.
You know, very honestly, you link this with the 1984 genocide. People are very scared to talk about it, and even I put a tweet about it that, you know, there is no way you can disregard that at this time. You know we should be talking about the Kisan movement, and everybody is, you know, everybody is talking about the Kisans, and that's why we're going so crazy about it, because, you know, we've experienced it before in 1984, we've experienced it in 1947, and even throughout the years, you know. So everybody's scared to talk about 1984 and to say the word Khalistan, and I'm gonna pop it in straight. You know, there is nothing wrong in the word. We know it. I think you've probably studied it as well, and hence you actually put it in the context of your song as well. But you know, there is this fear that we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to be vocal about it on our social media, and I think there is very few girls definitely that are talking about it. You're one of them,
right?
Do you not have this fear? Do you not think like, okay, I need to think twice if I need to mention the word Khalistan on my Twitter account or my Instagram?
Well, first of all, I'm banned on Twitter. So there's that. You know, it does come with its restrictions. It's not easy. It's not easy that I'm, you know, like, you know, saying what I'm saying. It's not that I don't say things without understanding the repercussions of it. I do understand the repercussions of it. The thing with, and the way I look at it is like, okay, well, I don't have a Twitter. Well, then, you know what? Screw you, Twitter. You weren't there for freedom of speech anyway, so whatever. But, you know, I mean, just like in general, though, as I can't see it other than to be anything besides a political opinion. And I think that every person has the right to speak out on what their political opinion is. And I've heard a lot of people with that political opinion, right? So I think that, you know, when you go back to it, what is it about this word that's making it so scary? Is it really the word that's scary, or is it the word that's been made to be scary by a lot of media outlets? Like here's an example, right? The media calls somebody a Khalistani in a demeaning manner, right? And saying that, oh, these are Khalistani. But I know a lot of people who would say, yeah, and I'm proud. I can say I'm Khalistani, and I can say I'm proud to be a Khalistani. But so what makes them, their opinion, or what makes their view so not okay, right? Like, if you really want to talk about like radical, if you want to talk about terrorists, like, we could talk about the RSS if we want to go there, right? But that would get really deep.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we can go on, and I'm really glad that I found somebody that's got kind of, you know, similar views, because every time I've asked this question, you know, even in a normal conversation, this comes out, no, Raj, don't speak about that, you know.
Right.
We shouldn't be talking about it. But there's something that we both kind of acknowledge as well, and I think it's the right time to kind of put it out, that, you know, yes, you know, if you're talking about Khalistan, you might be seen as an extremist, but, you know, there's nothing wrong in the word. there is nothing wrong in being one, because there is a context that you've got to learn, you know, that you haven't been shown through the media.
Yeah, and I mean, nobody's just saying it to say it, you know?
Yeah.
There are reasons, there are things that have happened. Like, if somebody has to really do research, and I'm not talking about, going on Arnab Goswami doing research. I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about no NDTV research. I'm talking about real, thorough research. I'm talking about people actually read the articles and the documents and figured out, like, what has been happening to the farmers, not just in 2020, but what's been happening to them. Like, in the past 2 years, there's been 20,000 farmer suicides. And that's a very modest, I think that's the most, like, modest account there is. I didn't see this being spoken about last year. Right? So maybe sometimes for change to happen, there has to be outrage. There has to be these really tough conversations. Like, this conversation is tough, right? Yeah.
Okay, I have to stop you right there, because you know what? My battery's like dying, so I need to go grab a charger from somewhere. Just stay here, okay? Just
Okay,
I'm gonna
listen to the comments. Okay.
Yeah, just read the comment.
Okay. Okay. To my wife Fifi's on a Twitter ban. Honestly, I don't know. We need to bring that up with Twitter. They don't like my political views and opinions, so they're not up Jack's alley, you know. I have beef with Jack. I always say that. He's the CEO of Twitter. I have major beef with Jack.
Okay, my team's on it.
Perfect.
This is the first time this has happened, so I'm so sorry. Usually never happens. This is very unprofessional of me, but I hope it's okay.
Yes, totally fine.
Right. Back to the conversation we were having, and back to what we were saying about, you know, everything to do with. Just give me 1 second.
Could everybody hear me properly? I feel like, do I need to put on headphones or something? I don't think so. I hope.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
That's good. So, we were talking about the protest, and, like, you know, we mentioned, you know, doing the actual research and, you know, reading articles and everything. And you have, okay, so when we talk about this research and everything you said in the song, I read the comments on the song when it actually came out. Whether that's on your Instagram or whether that's on your YouTube, a lot of backlash. You know, you had the people that probably also believe in Khalistan say that, you know, Fifi, what are you saying? This is not the right time to talk about it. Right. Why do you think this is the right time to talk about it?
When is there supposed to be a right time to talk about it? When you're oppressed, that's when you talk about it. This is the time to talk about it. I actually don't think there was more than a perfect time to talk about it now. The last time this issue, where Khalistan has been talked about so much, was in the 80s. And me and you know what happened then, right? So I think it's the story of a community that's being oppressed and suppressed time and time and time again. And now it's finally being internationalized. And it's finally being spoken about. Now it's finally being talked about, right? It's like all the pain and suffering, and everybody's just, you know, made to fear to not speak up. Or sometimes you don't want to speak up about it because it's so hard. Like, you don't want to talk about those hard things, right? Like, sometimes, like, you don't want to talk about something that's so gruesome. Like, I cried when I read those, like, reports about what happened in 1984. And I was mad at myself that, wow, like, my whole life I didn't know this. Like, they don't teach you in school. They don't teach you this anywhere. You don't know what happened until you actually, you know, figure it out. And I'm glad that right now it's giving a lot of people an opportunity to go back and see what happens. But in terms of the backlash, can I tell you something? Do you know, and can I even tell you how much support I have gotten? It's been absolutely overwhelming. Like, I am not even kidding. I got more hate for Mera Jism Meri Marzi than I did for Khalistan the Solution.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's people, like, almost every day, and I don't post it on my story so much because, you know, it's like management teams and, like, people, and, like, you know, we're trying to, like, you know, create this whole brand and everything that I have going on. But every single day I wake up and I literally look at my message requests, you guys. Everybody who sends me a message, I see everything. So I go through my message request box, and it's like, literally, like, I wake up to 50 at least of the song. Or, like, people literally driving tractors and my song is playing in the back. And they're there, like, in the protest. And I'm like, oh my God, like, what? That's crazy. Or it's like people would just, you know, make kind of like, they'll, you know, compile a bunch of clips of the protest and put my song in the back. And it makes me feel so good that like, damn, like I can vocalize something that people wanted to say, but we're not able to, you know? And I think that that's what was like really, really touchy to me, is that a lot of people, you know, have you ever heard of something called the silent majority? I feel like there's a really, really big silent majority where, you know, a lot of people are like, no, I can't post this, but I'm glad you did. And I'm messaging you to let you know that I'm happy that you posted this. I can't repost it because of the people that follow me, but thank you for doing this. You know, I get a lot of that too. So
that's where the whole thing with the farmers protest and now comes in, the influencers. And that's why I don't like to call you an influencer. I don't like to call myself an influencer ever, you know, because this is where it kind of separates ways. You know, the farmers protest happened in November. It started way before November, so it started like in August. The bills were passed in June, July, I believe. In November, no one was posting about it, you know. The very small minority of like girls that were, you know, popping off either on TikTok or like, you know, they were doing something with their lives. No one, you know, there was like silence from the entire world, and people who had like, you know, big platforms. What do you have to say about that? Now, you know, I have had people say, Raj, you're wrong there, because, you know, everybody has their own choice and own views. But, you know, there is a thing of human rights, you know?
right. Yeah. I mean, I you know, it's a hard line. It's a hard line because as an artist, like I know, you know, just like the Twitter thing, I know what repercussions come with it. I know what losses, you know. I'm not gonna have the biggest fans in India. Hey, what can you do? You shouldn't treat people like that. Then I don't know. Take it up with your government, not me. But you know, I think just. But altogether, like, what was your question again, Raj? I forgot.
Like, you know, with the whole thing, the fact that, you know, influencers just never.
Oh yeah, influencers. You know? Okay, right. So here's the thing. I can't blame them because of the repercussions, and I also know what happens, and I know, like, so that's kind of the mentality I go about it, right? I'm just like, okay, well, you know, I know this artist could really help a lot by posting, but maybe if they post something, they won't be allowed to go back to India where they do their shows or performances or something like that, right? People have something to lose, and I mean, that's completely on them. I just feel like I do get frustrated. I'm not gonna lie, I do get frustrated. There's a level of like, oh, like, you know what it is mostly, like I'm actually really, really happy, like Diljit Dosanjh, like Gary Sudbu, like everybody like in the Punjabi community, like honestly, guys, they're doing good. Bollywood, and not even just Bollywood, Hollywood. And this is, you know, the other day, my mom called me and she was like, I heard you were, you know, shit talking some Pakistani like female celebrities, and I said, no, I wasn't. I was just saying, where's Mahira Shahida? Because where are they? Because, you know, because I can't help but to feel like, oh my God, you guys, like people who are completely like 7 seas away can talk about this issue, but you guys having a platform and having the audience that you do, like anything happens in Kashmir, you guys are the first people to speak out, you know. Zali Abbasi. But so what happened all of a sudden now, where like I'm literally like over here baffled every day. I'm like literally like trying to like read new articles every day, trying to figure out what's going on, and you guys are neighbors, and this is happening right under, like right next to you, and nobody's saying anything. That part frustrates me a lot, because I'm like, Pakistani actors and actresses, you guys aren't going to be allowed in India anyway, so just might as well speak up for the protesters. Like, it doesn't make sense to me sometimes, but I feel like it's different because I feel like it's also about the way you were raised, and I feel like it's also about like the principles that you have on hand. Like the way that I see it, I lose followers more than I gain followers. By the way, like I lose like 300 followers like a day. I don't even know what it is, but you know how I see it.
Same, high five.
You too, right?
Yeah.
You know how I see it. I'm like, damn, I must have something to say. Like that, but that's all a part of building a community, right? Like these people that don't like me or my views or my beliefs, they're just like exiting, and I don't even have to do it. They're doing it for me.
Yeah,
it's just like
it makes me happy.
Filtering.
I'm like, okay, go.
Right, they're like completely filtering themselves. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, you know, do you, all good, no problem. And if people are gonna get offended because I'm speaking up for the truth or I'm speaking on behalf of people that are being put down systematically, okay, be mad, be big mad. I said what I said, and I'd do it again.
Oh, I love you, Fifi. Honestly, I love the fact that you're speaking up for this. And, you know, one thing I would like to say since we're live, and this is the first time I'm speaking to you. Honestly, I've never spoken to you, or even over text. I think this is the first time I've actually got to interact. I always comment on the TikToks for sure, you know. Hey, Fifi, you look really nice. But, you know, that's about it. So the first interaction, and I love the way that you think about this whole, you know, issue. And on that note, I think it's a good time to say that, you know, whatever it is that, you know, you might agree with the bills, that's absolutely fine, but let's not disregard the fact that there was a human rights violation. You know, protesting is allowed, and it's the world's biggest democracy. So, you know, that's something that you should always be like, you know, supporting, no matter if you support the bills or you know, you are a BJP supporter or whatever. You know, let's not forget, you know, the humanity,
the basics of it.
Yeah, the basics. You know, this is stuff that we have been grown up within, you know. Anyway, so moving on from that, let's just try and find out more about you, Fifi. I'd love to, you know, just know where you're from, and like, you know, you're living in America right now. So
I'm in New York. It was so funny. You guys were DMing me. You're like, what time zone are you in? I'm in New York. I've been raised here for the most part, and I'm Chitrali. So I was born in Chitral, Pakistan, which is like all the way in the north, like complete northern areas. And yeah, I spent my whole life here, and I've just been, you know, now I'm an artist full time, which is crazy, and just absolutely love it though.
Do you go back quite a lot, or you don't?
No.
When was the last time you went back home?
2015.
So like quite a long time back.
It's been quite a long time. Yeah, like when I was a kid, I went regularly. So it was really good, and I think that's why I'm always like in tune with my culture and my people, because my mom like took me back frequently as a kid, you know, like took me there, like had me see everything, like kind of embracing the culture. You know, when you come back from like overseas and all of a sudden you're listening to like new, you know, songs, and it's a whole different vibe. So I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was like completely like seeing a different world and coming back and seeing a different world. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. And like in terms of like, you know, your parents and your family, how supportive were they? Like, you know, when you said like, you know, I'm going to leave everything and I want to become an artist, because, you know, ask me, you know, I used to be asked to.
Yeah, basically, I was just like, yo, I'm gonna just do me, you know. And I think they do get concerned. I would be lying if I said like, oh my God, they're super supportive and they're about it. Like, no. It has eased up in a way, so it's no longer like complete blasphemy. So for me, they're super, super, super conservative and like super completely like different kind of world than I am. So I think just the fact that now it's like a chewable fact for them that like, oh, okay, like I can say things like, I'm working on my single, you know, and they won't be like, absolutely like, what, by it. So I think that's progress. It's funny though. That's something, yeah. And so it's funny though, because I'll be like, I was talking to my mom the other day, super casually, and she was like, where are you coming back from? And I was like, oh, I just came out of the studio, like I'm going home. She was like, studio? What did you go to the studio for? And I'm like, Mom, this is what I do. This is literally what I do. So my sister, on the other hand, though, she like picks and chooses. So like she likes like the work that I do as an activist. And I think like everybody wants me to be something different. Like it's so funny. I'm gonna do a YouTube video one day where I just like interview people in my family. Like, what would you like for me to be? What would you like for me to be? Because everybody tells me like, you have so much potential. I'm like, I love that word. Everybody keep on telling me.
Yeah, but, I mean, people tell me to become a politician as well. My family members do. I think
that's probably something you get. Like the minute you can speak, they're like, oh, you should become a politician.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like I think anything for my sister, she would love it if I was a journalist. She would love it if I was a lawyer. She would love it if I was like doing anything besides singing the Sugar Baby anthem.
And your sister is older than you.
She is, but she acts like she's 10 years older. She's like only 4, but she literally acts like, you know, it's like the oldest daughter in the immigrant family is always like the grandma. That's her. So we, you know, it's so funny though, because like we're like complete polar opposites like that.
You know, everybody has their own struggle, and I think one of the struggles for a girl is always, you know, going through the family route. You know, that's the struggle that we go through. And I think I'd be wrong if I said I didn't, because I'm still going through it, you know. So, you know, for you, what was it like handling that? Because, you know, I think I can put myself in your shoes and say, you know, we're getting so much love, we're getting so much positivity, and people are telling us that we're doing very well. On the other hand, you know, the family's like, you know, you guys are doing McGross. So
yeah, like they're worried about you. Like,
so,
like it's so funny.
What's the way that you kind of made yourself kind of, you know, understand both ends and, you know, balance yourself in between?
I think it comes with age, and I think it comes with time. Like before, I, you know, as a kid, I just couldn't understand, right? Because my friends have these white mothers who would let them wear whatever they want, let them go whatever they want, let them eat whatever, like everything, right? And I like sleepovers or like parties or anything, I wasn't, you know, there. Or even like my mom would, like, you know, she would suppress any artistic activity because she thought that, like, no, you need to do good in math and you need to do good in science, and like even to the point where she's like, I don't like you reading fiction, like I want you to read like actual things that are going on in the world. And at that time I was like, you're evil, like you're completely evil, like you're out here to torment me and ruin my life, like what have I done to you? Right? But you know, now looking back, like now I'm older, I'm like, I probably do the same thing to my kid. I probably be worse. Right? Because you understand that in her head, like it's all coming from a place of love. And also, like, you know, she came in like to America when what, in her 30s, late 30s. So her view on the world and what's good for her child could be completely different than, and I think coming from like, you know, first generation household, that is in itself like a big, big thing to like, you know, realize that they're actually coming from a really good place. But sometimes I think that, like, especially with Desi parents, like, it just never communicated the right way, like, ever.
Because we don't have the dining table culture. I think it's very
no.
rare. Even
there's
now,
no
like,
sweetie.
You know,
there's no honey. There's no
yeah.
love. There's like,
get...
yeah, like, you know, that's what love is to us. Like,
yeah.
So
you know, if we get like a very like sweet smile one day, we're like shocked. What's going on?
What's going on? And then the languages of love are completely different too, which is also something I realized as I'm older, because it's like my mom would like come and fucking, we're fighting, and she's like bringing me platters of fruit. I'm like, why are you bringing me fruit? And that's the sign. It's just like showing love without, like, you know, because they can't communicate with us the way that.
Definitely very different cultures.
Definitely very different cultures.
And different generations as well within other kind of thing, because we're like adapting to the Western world, and you know they're still kind of stuck somewhere there, and it's absolutely normal, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Fifi, when it comes to, you know, just yourself and, you know, handling everything and doing so many things at, you know, once, what is it like, you know, just living and just, you know, keeping up with your mental health?
That's a big thing. Every day is different. You have your good days, you have your bad days. You have really good days, you have your really bad days. What like I've noticed a lot of things about myself that I could change to better that. One huge thing for me has been, especially when you're like handling projects, like I just finished wrapping up a huge music video, right? And there was like 20 to 25 people on set. And before doing music videos, I would be so frustrated if like one thing went wrong, right? I'm like, oh my God, like this is the end of the world. Like I'm so, like it's so easy for me to like find one thing and let it be like my whole day ruiner, you know? And I've stopped doing that. I've started to let go of a lot of things. Like if it's not in my control, it's not in my control. There's nothing I can do. And then you know what I always say to myself that literally helps me? I'm like, if I worry, I'm gonna cause wrinkles and I'm gonna need Botox. So don't worry, keep calm, keep the face elevated, gravity, meditating. I've started meditating as well. And I know like a lot of Muslim people are gonna come after me right now. They're gonna be like, why don't you just pray instead? But that's up to me and God. That's my relationship with me and God. But I did start to meditate, and I always thought meditating was just super dumb. Like I thought anybody who did it was just like wacko. But I started to do it, and it's like you let go, especially if you start your day with it. Like first 10 minutes, literally I meditate now, if I can, and just 10 minutes of just like breathing. What do I want for today? what is my intention? Like, I don't want to sound like those crazy meditating people. Now I sound like them. But what is your intention for today? What are the negative thoughts that you want to let go of? What is your goal for the end of today? You know?
Yeah.
Like all of those things. I think that helps a lot. I love to cook as well. So just like honestly finding things that I do outside of work, completely outside of work, that are just for me. I think that's really helped a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I really want to ask you about your skincare routine, but I'll probably do that on another live that we do, because otherwise I'm going to run out of time, because you have beautiful skin, touch wood. I want to give you nazar. But you live with your dog.
I do. Oh my god, he's right here. Wait.
He's sleeping.
He's sleeping. He's a sleepy boy. He came up next to me though. He was like, "Let me just lay down here." Oh my god, you are so smart. This is why you do what you do. Because Bo is basically my emotional support animal. So I would probably go crazy if it wasn't for him. Like constant. And this is like scientific proof. I'm not just making this up, okay? Like dogs can, or animals, like you can have animals that like help you with your emotional well-being. And I think Bo does it super unintentionally just by being himself. I just look at him and I'm like, oh my god, I love you. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little teddy bear that like is like alive and like walking around.
And he's so small. Like, you know, he's small and cute.
He's not actually small.
He looks
He's
very small.
actually big. Like he's small, but like he's not small. Do you know what I'm saying? Like he's small, but like he's actually a medium-sized dog. Like
So
I don't know.
He's
Girl,
really
you
old.
see in pictures, everybody thinks he's like this much, right? Like this.
Yeah,
much.
we all.
He's literally like this much. He's pretty big. I'm really small too, but still he's big.
I mean, you look pretty tall.
Do I look? I'm 5 foot flat. I don't know why everybody thinks I'm like so tall, but hey,
It heels.
talk about inches. Talk about inches. Now we're just doing girl talk. People are like,
Yeah, now it's kind of got into something else. Fifi, when it comes to, you know, speaking Punjabi or like, you know, Urdu, do you understand? Do you speak a bit?
So, okay, so back to when I said that I was born in Chitral. So in Chitral, they actually speak a language called Kowar. Fun fact, Chitral used to be its own kingdom before, back in the day, back before they came and like ruled it and colonialism and everything like that. But they actually speak Chitrali over there, which is my mother tongue, Chitrali. And like, what is it? I think my little brother told me the stat of like 150,000 people in the world speak it. Chitrali. So not much. Like if you could go to the rest of Pakistan talking Chitrali, like people would be like, what are you saying? Like, because it's very, like I can talk in it right now. Like, right? Like, what was that? I just said that I'm speaking in Chitrali and you don't understand me. That's all I said. But it's very like odd. And it's like, you know how like Punjabi and Urdu are kind of similar in a way? Like even Hindi, like they're all like sister languages, I call them.
Yeah.
Chitrali is like, no, like it's just like no with a heart. Like it's completely different from everything else. But my mom was an Urdu professor, so she was like really like wanting me to learn Urdu. It was so crazy because I would come home from like public school in America and my mom would make me go to the basement and practice Urdu, like writing Urdu, and I'm like, I'm never gonna need this, mother. Like, why are we doing this? Like I would literally be like alif, like anad, like ba, like ta, like literally I would do the whole thing. So because of that trauma that was caused, I do speak like a little bit of Urdu, and I think it's because of a lot of Bollywood. I think a lot of Bollywood has definitely contributed to that. Now Punjabi is funny to me because if you spoke Punjabi to me like back when I was like 16, it would completely sound like gibberish unless there was like Urdu words in there. Now I'd be speaking it and I completely understand it. Like Hindi, I don't get. Like, you know when, like sometimes I try to watch like the Indian news, I'm like, what? They're like, something, and I'm like, huh? What is this? So Punjabi, I think ever since I created like Punjabi music and I started to like, you know, like learn like the words and stuff like and how they're used, I'll speak in my like little tutti frutti Punjabi. Like literally like when people ask me like Fifi kidan, I'll be like Cherry color.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. Okay, Fifi, before I let you go, I'm also gonna want to hear at least one song. But before I go, I'm gonna do like a quick, like, rapid kind of question round thing that I do.
Okay.
I usually, like to do that with the girls because I think it's more fun. So I'm gonna give you like 5 names, or like you know the Punjabi music industry quite well, so
Yes.
I'll probably grab some names out there.
Oh my god. Okay, wait, are you naming the artist and I'm naming a song or what?
Maybe both.
Name both?
Maybe I'll do both.
Okay, because I might not know like every song, but
Okay, cool. I might drop in some Bollywood stuff as well in there.
Okay.
Right. So, if I was to name like, Sidhu Moosewala, Karan Aujla, Gary Sandhu, Babu Man, and, Diljit Dosanjh, who's your favorite out of 5?
Oh. AP Dillon.
He
Wait.
wasn't even in the list. Okay, cool. Well, we'll take that as AP Dillon, right? If I was to ask you like a favorite AP Dillon song, what's the song that you've been vibing through of his?
Oh my god, I'm so bad. See, I knew I didn't know the song names. You know that song where it's like Tenu Mangya Me Rab Kol something?
Tenu Mangya Me Rab Kol.
Yeah.
I don't know the titles of their songs.
But do you know that one? I feel like that one is so good. He said
Okay.
He said I asked you, forgot about you, right?
I feel like it's the song Chances, but I don't want to get it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
A favorite Sidhu Moosewala song.
Okay. This is gonna be so bad because I don't know all of them.
You can kind of sing the line and then we can.
Okay, wait. Probably Jarta Mukabla because it's so iconic, right?
Yeah. And you've made a couple of TikToks on that too.
Oh, I did. I think I did. Probably. I was actually when I first learned about Punjabi rap, I was completely obsessed. When I tell you obsessed, completely obsessed.
Yeah. If I was to say the girls, if I was to name, I'm not gonna name girls, but who's your favorite Punjabi female? Jasmine. You've spoken to her or you've not? No. I think she's in the same country as you. Yeah,
but she's a fucking G. She's just okay. So I'll tell you when that moment came up for me where I was like, I have to do Punjabi music, was when I saw a freaking video of Jasmine Sandlas on a stage in California wearing a Punjabi suit with sunglasses and dreads, and she was on the stage with a mic just literally jamming out. And I had never, and I don't know about you, had you ever before, Jasmine? Because I had never seen a Punjabi girl put on a show.
So.
Wait, what?
I've hosted one of the shows, so
so of course you're like, I know this inside and out. This is what I do. But that feeling though, from a brown girl perspective, really kind of it was literally inspiring. It was super inspiring. She
breaks the boundaries,
She has broken boundaries. She's she ran so that Fifi could walk. Jasmine ran so Fifi could walk. You know how they say that?
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. I mean, I have so many more questions, but I'm sure I'll be asking you a lot of things now. I'll be probably irritating you, messaging you on Instagram.
Can you please irritate me? Can you message me? I feel like we should be friends.
Yeah, I think we should.
Yeah, I'll give you my. I
think you should do a trip down to the UK and we should just kind of hang out.
I definitely think so. I feel like a music video over there or something with Asia.
All the girls. We get all the girls involved.
You got to present that at a meeting.
Because
that would be iconic.
I mean that. Yeah. I really want to hear a song. Any song, I love your songs. And we've been talking about Khalistan quite a lot, so it'd be good to hear that one.
You want me to sing the Khalistan song?
Yeah.
Me trying to figure out my lyrics. India, you playing with Punjab, that's a live wire. Playing with Sikhs, now you playing with real fire. Keep that shit up, you gonna burn your whole empire. Like a volcano when it bursts, gonna be real dire. You taking all the water? No, the verses. Tell me how I forgot my own song, you guys. I wasn't ready. Can I pull it up and sing with it?
Yeah, of course you can. It's your stage.
I gotta do it, man. taking all the water, raising all the prices, market set rate, that's what it was. Farmers in crisis. It's actually a really like hard video, like song, and I was like contemplating for the longest time. I'm like, should I even curse in this? But I was so outraged. You guys like those vocals in the beginning?
India, you playing with Punjab, that's a live wire. Playing with Sikhs, now you playing with real fire. Keep this shit up, you gon' burn your whole empire like a volcano when it bursts. Gon' be real dire. You taking all the water, raising all the prices. Market set rate, farmers in crisis. Marches to Delhi, revolution rises. Get our land back, no compromises. Youth is woke now, they realize it. India denying, Punjab is dying. They could fuck it all the way to Delhi. Millions in miles, you could check the telly. Beat me with batons, but you can't get rid of me. Spray tear gas, but could still see the enemy. They could fuck it all the way to Delhi. Millions in miles, you could check the telly. Beat me with batons, but you can't get rid of me. Spray to conquer. Tell me, are you ready? Oh my god.
So you guys, like, I literally, like, you know, when I was writing this song, I was like, what would I do, like, if I was there? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would I do, like, if I was, like, immersed in the crowd? And something that I kept on hearing over and over again was, like, Dig Dig Fateh rally, or, like, Dig Dig Fateh. I was like, what does that even mean? And I Googled it, and I wanna see the actual meaning of it. But when I Googled it, I was like, what? It means victory to charity and arms. So the fact that like people were literally screaming Dig Dig Fateh, and then I was like, Dig Dig Fateh, all the way to Delhi, millions in miles, you could check the telly, beat me with batons, but you can't get rid of me. And that baji that was hit with the baton was the inspiration behind the beat me with batons, but you can't get rid of me. So I'm so passionate about this, Raj.
It's amazing to see how passionate you are, the love and the support that you've been showing, because honestly, I've not really spoken to anyone apart from, you know, the Punjabis in the area right now. And, you know, it's really nice to see that, you know, you being so far and, you know, not even being from Punjab or from India. And, you know, we all know when you're in Pakistan, I always seem to be like, you know, hating each other. But it's never like that. There's so much love. There's so much support. And you're like a great example of it, I think. Like, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fifi.
Thank
It
you,
was
Raj.
really lovely talking to you.
I know.
Such an inspiration. You're very, very inspiring.
Thank you.
Anything you want to say to your fans and beloved ones that were like listening?
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm really happy. I'm really like I'm happy you brought me on too, because I, you know, having a platform where you can talk about things like this is really important. And listen, all praise to Brit Asia TV too, because not a lot of people would have the guts to play my song.
Not a lot of people would.
But a lot of people would. And so you guys are like an even bigger inspiration, you know?
Thank you so much for coming on. And know, like, you know, this whole time difference was a bit of a crazy one as well, but like, thank you for coming on, and it was lovely talking to you.
So lovely talking to you, girl.
I'll probably be in touch, you know. I'll probably message you now.
Can you though?
Yeah.
Hit me up. I'm gonna tell you all my skincare secrets.
Yeah, I need to know. I really need to know. Thank you so much, Fifi. Lots of love going out. Bye bye.